people come from all walks of life. They all have lives they lead. Any and all are welcome here to come and chat with me.
Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. I found this CBC article online. It was from February, and it talks about an album called Unceded Tongues. And it just so happens that the person who put out the album is here. Ladies and gentlemen, Lil'wat artist, Lil'wat artist Russell Wallace. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. Hi, thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure for sure. I get a little tongue-tied sometimes. So tell me about this album.
It was years in the making.
Is that right?
Because I mean, I've wanted to put out an album for a long time, and I had a lot of different material, and as I was doing more work and writing more songs, I realized at one point, I said, well, hey, I could have like a whole album of songs in my language. Let's go for that. And so up until the end of last year, I was still writing and recording stuff, and I gave myself a deadline because I work best with deadlines, but sometimes when I give myself a deadline, I don't follow through, and it's just
I can relate.
I guess it's a discipline thing, but
yeah.
I said, well, it's my birthday in January, and like, let's use that as a date. And so I did that, and I'm glad I did, because I mean, it could have taken a lot longer to assemble if I kept saying, oh well, if you keep delaying it, it's like, oh, I can put this song in there, or
Yeah.
And so I thought, no, a deadline is good, and some of the songs are really kind of I guess really are poignant at this time of the pandemic, and so I felt I'll do that, and so I did, and it was like I said, years in the making, but like, I'm glad that I did it, and I'm glad that I focused on songs with language.
And now you talked about your language, and what is that language?
Statlium.
Statlium.
Yeah.
Okay. Statlium. I'm trying to learn all these things. It's anyway, I'm working on it. Now you talk about one song in particular, Please Come Back to Me. Why did you include that song?
That was, I wrote that last year, and first I came up with the music, and I thought, oh, that's that's a cool chord progression, and I could hear piano on it, and different things, and a lot of times when I do create music, I just improvise a melody or something over top, and or find words, but these words were coming to me as I was singing, and that, oh, they fit really well, and it was after I wrote it and recorded a demo of it, I realized this is a song about the pandemic from 1918.
Right.
It's a song my mom would sing a lot, and she'd talk about learning it from her aunt Edith, and Edith would talk about a time when people were dying, like a lot of people were dying at the same time, and so she was a lot of family and friends within a short period of time, and the song was about that, and I realized she's talking about the pandemic, and the Spanish flu in 1918, when all the soldiers came back, and there were soldiers that came back to Lil'wat carrying that virus with them, and it spread through the community really quickly. But so I took the words, the lyrics from that song, as like a traditional song, and put it into like the music I wrote, and it fit really well. And I thought, wow, this is like, referencing that past pandemic, but also kind of referencing this pandemic. And, I've lost family to COVID and stuff. So it's kind of like, like I said, a poignant moment. And like, an important song to include.
Mhm. Sorry to hear about the loss of a family member.
Mm.
It's tough, right?
It is, yeah.
Your music, you have different genres that you've included, pop and jazz, and what else was there? Blues, right?
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah, kind of like a lot of my influences that I grew up with, and I thought, if I'm going to write songs in the language, like let's make songs that kind of fit into these different genres. So like an R&B song, I thought, because I grew up with that. I loved R&B, and so I
Right.
thought, I got to do that. And one of the last songs I wrote, Climb the Mountain, I thought, well, I need some kind of poppy type of song, and so I call it indigipop. Like there's K-pop and J-pop, and so why can't we have indigipop?
Why not? Yeah, exactly. Now, what is it? It says that Salish music. How different is that from any of the other music?
How different?
Not a bad question.
Well, yeah. So there's a certain forms to our music in a lot of Salish cultures, and and because that was my training, that was my background. I didn't go to music school, so I don't have a very strong Western music training or upbringing. But my mom was a traditional singer, and I grew up singing the old songs with her, and so like I said, that's my training. And so like when I compose, even now, like in using all these modern equipment and tools, I still reference Salish music in that, like
Right.
just how I organized different patterns in the songs. And um it's a kind of a simple form, but like it's repeatable in different genres, because pop music is kind of simple in itself as well. And so but yeah, some of the vocal stuff I use in some of the songs are very Salish, I guess you could say.
Right. So when did you start performing?
um Probably when I was like 4 or 5.
Oh, is that right?
But I mean, it was more within a community, you know,
Mhm.
sense. And so I would sing with my mom in the community at different events. And, it wasn't until, I went to theater school that I realized, well, I mean, the other thing is I was so dreadfully shy. It's like I stopped singing altogether when I was a teenager. And um, so, yeah, I thought, well, theater would help me overcome that shyness. And it did. And, I was able to speak in front of people, which
Yeah.
is kind of weird to say. It's like,
No, I understand. Trust me, I get it. Okay. People think because I can do this, I can be out there social. I don't, totally get it. So are you from Lil'wat?
yeah, well, I grew up in Vancouver. My mom was from Lil'wat, in a community called Hachlip. And my dad is from Mount Currie, which is called Lil'wat. So they're both Statliam speaking nations. And so, yeah, they moved around a lot. Like they moved to the States in the 50s. And so I was born down in Tacoma, Washington.
Okay.
And a couple of years after I was born, they moved back to Canada and got a house in Vancouver. And so I grew up in, Main Street.
No, I know you're more than a singer-songwriter. You also do videos, is that correct?
Um, yeah, like an emerging or submerging video artist, I guess you could say. uh, yeah, like actually I did some film classes in college, and I've always wanted to, make film. And so, yeah, I've worked as a film director on mostly art projects, and
Okay. Yeah.
hopefully I can, do some more in the future as well.
Mhm.
But in terms of Western art theory and training, my background is creative writing. So I went to UBC in the creative writing program, and all my friends in those classes are award-winning writers and putting out novels and stuff. And I haven't even put out any writing myself yet. So I'm a little slow and late to the game in that. But, I love music, and, that's where most of my work happens. And so, why not stick with
what makes you happy, right?
That's
And I think
true.
you said something about music, where if I can find it now, because music it's like a universal language for one thing, right?
Mhm.
And gosh, I can't find where you said it. Sorry about that. I know it's here somewhere. Music belongs everywhere. That's what I was looking for, right?
Yeah, I was talking about our music. Our music belongs everywhere, and our language belongs everywhere. It's like, why do we have to limit it to our own community? Like, and some people are feeling that way, as like, oh, we got to limit it to ourselves. And I'm like, my teachings from my mom was like, because she went through residential school,
Well,
and
she did, eh?
she was beaten for speaking the language or singing even. And so, but she kept these songs alive. Like, she would teach other kids in the playground, away from the nuns and priests, and
Right.
they would have a circle of friends who would sing each other's songs all the time. And so, that resistance to such blatant, violence, and
Yeah. Mhm.
but keeping that alive. And she always said, you got to share these songs, you have to share our language. And because she was taught that from her elders.
Good for her.
And so, and when she was telling me that, and when she passed away, she goes, keep on singing, keep on sharing. And it's like, okay, well, I got to do what my mom tells me to do.
Yes. So are you planning on putting out more songs, another album?
Yeah, I do have a lot of material that I can put out, and I think one of the ones I will put out soon is my collaborations with different people, and I'm gonna call it Collaboriginals. And yeah, it's just I mean, I love collaborating with people and different artists, because I learn so much from them. And it's like yeah, I think that's the way of our people, is like, we work collectively, we work together. And yeah, then I do have a lot of music that I've written for, like a musical, and so I'm wanting to put that out as well. But it's just like, I got so many things on the go all the time, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I got to set another deadline.
It's so interesting because so many artists that I interview, they're all the same. They always have so many things on the go because the brain, it's on constantly working, right? Thinking about
Yeah.
new things, or adding this or adding that. So if somebody wanted your album, Unceded Tongues, how would they get it?
Well, I use Bandcamp, which is um, a service where you can download the album. And I really like Bandcamp because it really supports the artist. I mean, I do have it on iTunes and Spotify and such, but the artist gets very little from them. And I mean, it's kind of political. It's like, well, whereas Bandcamp, if you buy the CD and download it, majority of the funds go to the artist. And
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
so I'm really happy with Bandcamp. And I'm if you do want to support any artist, go to their Bandcamp. And
So it's BAND camp.
yeah.
All right. So hopefully people will check that out. That would be really good. Yeah. So what about now? You said you were working on a musical.
Well, yeah,
in the future?
Well, I did a version of it a couple of years ago, and basically it's about a fictional indigenous radio station, and so I called it CNDN radio, and it's like all the drama that happens, sometimes on air or behind the scenes, and but yeah, a big part of it was creating fictional artists, fictional indigenous new wave artists from the 80s, or and creating music that would emulate that, and that was actually really fun to do, because it's like, oh, I can emulate something like the B-52s or other things. But yeah, developing characters, and so a big part of it is an interview with these fictional artists from the 80s as they're growing up now and older, and you see that some of them are working as telemarketers, or it's like a lot of artists, when they grow older, especially if they've were in bands a long time ago, it's like a lot of them, I find it hard to make ends meet, and so take on a day job to do that. And yeah, I did that for a number of years as well, and I mean, I still do it. I still teach and stuff, but
Oh, you teach? Okay.
yeah, I'm teaching at Vancouver Community College, and so I'm leading the Indigenous vocal ensemble, and
Nice.
yeah, it's something that I love doing, is like teaching our singing, and so yeah, that's kind of my little foothold in maintaining a consistent income, because, well, we live in a world where we do have to pay rent and
Yeah.
have to buy groceries, and
That's right. Nothing's free out there. Right.
no.
Yeah. Well, this has been great. I think we're just about out of time. Just stay on camera while I talk to the audience, say goodbye to the audience. Yes. So everybody, I'm going to suggest you check out Unceded Tongues on Bandcamp and download it so that Russell will get paid. And I hope you enjoyed meeting him. And when Facebook gets back up and running, by the way, it's October 4th. I don't know when you're going to be looking at this, but today there's a worldwide outage for Facebook. But
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
yeah, we're also wondering, why can't we get on? So you will eventually see this on there. And I think Wallace is on there too, if you don't mind my saying that, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Wallace. I meant Russell Wallace. Oh my gosh, I better stop while I'm ahead. Okay, thank you for watching, everybody, and take care, and peace out. I've got to push.
A sense of community, Lil'wat's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Lil'wat's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Lil'wat's the place to be, you'll see.